We have so many customer interactions every day. I think we have 650 on average in each store, and there's 5,000 of them in Europe. So we really, have a lot of possibilities to make great customer interactions every day. But we need to stay sharp. We need to stay focused. If we want to win the customer, then we have to be on our A game at the stage every day.
You're listening to the Future of Convenience podcast, brought to you by Global Convenience Store Focus, featuring senior retail executives and experts in the global convenience, fuels, and mobility retail industry. Hosted by Dan Munford, Nick Scherzer, and Carolyn Schnare. Welcome to the Future of Convenience podcast. I'm Carolyn Schnare, and I'm joined by my guest host, Frank Leeson. Hey, Frank.
Hey, how are you, Carolyn? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for joining me. And today we're going to be talking with Jens Rye, the Director for People Development for Circle K Europe. We're going to talk about some strategies that Circle K Europe has employed to engage their store employees. So welcome to the program, Jens.
Thanks, Caroline. Lovely to be here.
Yes, of course. And you're joining us from Oslo, so all over the other side of the world from me. So it's great to have you. Before we get started, I want to tell you about a Dande refrigeration. Ready to revolutionize your convenience store kitchen? Look no further than a Dande refrigeration. With a Dande's innovative patented technology, you'll enjoy a dramatic reduction in energy consumption compared to traditional refrigeration units. A Dande drawers offer large capacity and stackability, allowing you to optimize every inch of your storage area and maintain consistent, precise temperatures. Choose a Dande refrigeration for unmatched efficiency and performance made for your convenience. Visit dande.com to learn more. So back a couple months ago, we read an article about the gamification strategies that Circle K Europe has recently rolled out. And it engages store employees, series of games, and it really works as both training and identifies areas for improvement, as I understand, but you'll tell us a little bit more about that. So that's called the Customer Star Program, and we're going to get into that in just a second. But first, Jens, can you tell me a bit about yourself and your role at Circle K?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm born and raised in Oslo. I live here with my better half and two kids, aged 2 and 3, so we're not bored. I joined Circle K in 2021. Before that, I spent 8 years in retail with management consulting, but wanted to join the other side. Now I've been here for about 2.5 years. Always loved both meeting new people and new cultures. So I've lived in Canada, Denmark, France, and Norway. So I think these experiences have helped a lot in the current role, where I'm leading a team of project managers delivering projects aimed at our stores across the 12 countries we operated in Europe.
Very cool. That's a big territory for sure. So the Customer Star Program, that looks just so cool, and it really seems to be working extremely well in Europe. And I don't know how much further, but can you tell us a little bit more about that program?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a cool journey for sure. Even though it looks very shiny now, in the beginning it was a lot more challenges than that, though. When I started to get my team together and learn them, they're a great team, by the way. We really try to understand what are the commonalities and the challenges across Europe that we have to tackle. And traveling around the markets, one of the things we really understood was that one of the main commonalities was around winning the customer. Everything starts with winning the customer. So our kind of key question into that was, what does that look for our team? How can we win the customer? And how can we deliver something that's relevant for all the markets? Even though there are some differences, there's also a lot of similarities, right? So what does Customer Star, or what does winning the customer mean on a European level? And that's where it all started.
It's a mobile app, right? So the employees either download it or they use a store phone or whatever it would be. Can you tell me about what is exactly, what are they playing? I know they're playing games. Tell me a little bit more about exactly what that is.
Yeah, very good question. So what we've done is basically identify kind of what's the key challenges that our staff meet on a daily basis. And then that could be, working the till. It could be shuffling the store during a massive line. It could be multitasking, both food, the cashier, and so on and so forth. So what we've done is basically take all those challenges, verify them across the markets, and then we've put that into what we call mini modules or mini games into what's then holistically become Customer Star. So what we're saying is that if you complete all these mini modules, you become a customer star. And then we've done that in a very engaging, fun manner where they can, play what they do every day, but in a very safe and friendly manner. And then we in the background kind of steer and facilitate for what's a good response and what's a great response. And then we give them feedback live on that was really good because you did ABC, or that was really good, but if you've done this and this and this as well, it could have been great. And through that they learn in a very safe environment what how we can kind of move the needle. Because I mean, we have so many customer interactions every day. I think we have 650 on average in each store, and there's 5,000 of them in Europe. So we really, have a lot of possibilities to make great customer interactions every day. But we need to stay sharp. We need to stay focused. If we want to win the customer, we have to be on our A game at the stage every day.
Especially, you said a lot of them are age 19 or just barely over, like barely an adult at that point. And that group has been born with a phone literally like attached, cosmetically attached to their hand. They don't know what to do without it. So you're really like playing into that. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I think if I mean if you tell this population to sit in a back office, look at some videos at some 20-year-old PC, and then passively review the input that you get, they will do it, but it will be in a passive manner. So the question is more, how can we make them take a proactive choice, joining in on something that's on their turf. They're probably using their own own mobile devices or store tablets, and they set the premises, and we make it into a game, right? So it's competing, it's fun, it's score tables, it's everything that they're used to, just in a professional business manner.
Sounds awesome, really. To be honest, I mean, the bit that kind of would engage me is really your ability to get them hooked in from the start, Jens. And I
Yeah.
suppose the best way to prepare people for the job actually is to give them the tools, and it feels like you give them the tool in their hand, and it's an interactive tool, which even is more interesting because the more they engage, the better they do, and the coaching and feedback you get seems like it's real time and awesome. So congrats on that. It seems
Yeah.
really effective.
Well, it's a team effort for sure. I mean, both my team and everybody across Europe really taking ownership on this. It's been a fantastic journey. Seeing how people want to learn, how they want to engage, and if we throw in, we're in retail. It's a competitive business. We're competitive by nature, and we made a fun competition around it called Beat Your Boss, where all store staff could try and beat their boss in customer star. And then if they were able to beat their boss after the number of attempts they wanted to do, they would get the personal prize delivered to them in store to congratulate, saying, hi Thomas, congratulations, you beat your boss. Go ahead, here's your customer star prize. And that created a ridiculous amount of engagement and fun and proudness on beating your boss. And I think that's the fast-paced play-to-win culture that we want to have in Circle K.
Jens, you've had quite a strong acceptance to the program right from the start. Can you tell us a bit about the success rate across the different countries and regions, and the participation levels by the employees?
Yeah, absolutely, Frank. It's been a massive engagement around this. We have, over 14,000 people in Europe taking real big part of Customer Star. We've had, I think, 86% of everybody in Europe, all store teams and store staff taking part of it. We have 100% participation in Baltics, meaning literally every single one. So the engagement around the European countries have been massive on customers. Are super fun to see.
And I always like to tie things in. So, have you seen a sales improvement in those stores and the ones that have adopted higher and you've had more participation?
Yeah, great question. We've actually segmented a bit based on those 14,000 people participating. I mean, if we look at them in terms of whether they perform particularly well, we call it a certification. Then we looked at number of certified employees per store, and I looked that up compared to sales index. So what we really see is that the higher amount of certified employees in store, the higher amount of sales index compared to the overall country. So it really shows us that the impact and the engagement that something like this can drive.
Oh, that's the results we all like to see. Well done.
Well, that's cool to hear. I think that sounds like a fun game to play. Everyone loves to, of course, beat their boss, and of course, for from your perspective, see actual results. So, stepping back a little bit, with 35,000 employees across Europe, so onboarding must be quite a challenge. I know, just even here in the States, I talked to some folks in the human resources departments, and they have an onboarding program, but it's just hard to get people started, especially with such turnover rates, especially here in the US. I don't know what it's necessarily like in all of your regions, but in terms of your onboarding, now it's crossed all of Europe, so I know that that's a little challenging. Can you tell us a bit about the program and how you make that, how you scale that, how you make it work, and a little bit go into a little bit what you do to get people beyond just this customer star program?
Yeah, so that's been kind of our second really big, must-win battle the last year and a half. Because, as you say, and as you correctly observed, Frank, I mean, we hire a lot of people, and it's for a lot of them, it's their first or second job, right? So we really want to set them up for success. We really want them to feel safe, and we really want to bet on them because we think it's a fantastic journey to be with us, even if you're here for some years or if you're here for life. So we just really want to set them up. And what we realized was that we're 12 countries, we're doing it in a lot of different ways. But what we saw was that there's some great practices, say for instance in Ireland or in Poland or in Sweden, but we haven't streamlined those across, right? So all the great folks in Ireland was not aware of the great practices in Sweden and Poland and so on and so forth. So our CEO in Europe asked if we could create or look into creating one holistic conceptual program based on all the best practices that we could find, traveling around, then put them into one program, build it around kind of end user needs. How can we give new hires a great experience and set them up for success, and B, help store managers in a busy day onboarding new hires. I think the average European store managers onboards about 7 people a year. It's not something they do every day. So really, move the needle for both parties on what this can be, how this can be carried out in a great manner. So we did that. We traveled around and we gathered all the good practices. We piloted that in one program. We call it the European Safe Trip Onboarding Program. And then we built that across 3 components. It was new engaging processes, engaging tech, and then new organizational setups. And then we holistically tried to pilot that in 2 markets and see what does this look like then. We piloted for 3 months in Denmark and Poland. The results were off the hook. Really strong local execution as well, were a fantastic local teams. We tested it for 3 months at about 370 stores, 1,000 new hires. And the initial results was that we saw, comparing apples to apples, we saw a 24 percentage points uplift in employee readiness. Saying that after their new onboarding, they feel ready to do their job. They feel confident. They know how to go about. And we saw about a 5 percentage point increase in employee retention for the first 90 days. So both in retention wise and in employee readiness, it was a fantastic experience.
Really awesome. Especially in the retention side of it. I mean, I don't know how quick your turnover is across the markets, but to be able to retain, I think, did you say 5%?
Yep.
That's awesome. Have you seen even better results since that piloting program went out?
Yeah, we got, after we lifted these results to the steering committee, we got a green light to scale it out across the European markets. So we're in that process now, which is really, really exciting because we're now moving the needle on trying to streamline all these practices across Europe. But we're really, really happy to see that we have so many great minds and hearts in this company, and just gathering. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We gathered all the good practices. We threw in what we think is really engaging tech, again meeting them on their premises, and then trying to structure it up so you don't have to prepare for everything single onboarding you do. Right? We have it streamlined. We have it standardized, and we hire about a bit under 15,000 people a year. And when this is completely rolled out, everyone will go through the same process. with some local exceptions, but about 90-95% is the same. So I think that's super exciting, talking about the impact for our people.
That's cool. I mean, people are important. That's what runs the everything. Um, I kind of have one more last question in terms of like looking ahead. This is kind of a futuristic question, but in terms of like generative AI, do you use a lot of AI in what you're doing with like maybe finding out what's working, what's not? I mean, I suppose the gamification actually already does a little of that, but do you use that across the board in any of your other programs?
Yeah, I think the short answer is yes. And then the second question, I guess, is in what ways can we use it, right? I think that's what everybody's asking themselves. We're applying it a bit across, trying to see, where is the best use cases. But I think AI gives us a lot of possibilities, right? I'm not sitting with all the answers, but I think we have at least three areas where we could use AI a lot. So one would be in terms of improving the quality and everything we do in terms of winning the customer. So you could have a lot more tailored and personalized training based on kind of performance. So you could assess what are strengths of our people and what are kind of development opportunities, and then really tailor that in based on that, and also kind of understand capability weak spots. So that's kind of the quality part of it. I think there's definitely a cost component as well. You can do translations on the go. You can create content. You can create text. Everything much quicker and much more cost efficient. And I think the third element, at least what I'm pondering about, is like time, right? So speed to market. We could do everything so much faster and so much more relevant. So imagine having all these tools when COVID-19 hit out. Only 3 years ago. Imagine having the AI strengths that we have with some of our partners. Then you could deliver, in I don't know 48, 72 hours. You could deliver hands-on training to all stores, really engaging, super relevant. We're in the middle of this. This is how you apply it, right? So I think anything's possible, right? So just trying to figure out the best way. But I think something within quality, something within cost, and something within time is areas where AI can, move the needle.
So kind of final question for me, Jens. Just thinking about kind of top tips, lessons learned for our audience. What would you say the whole program has taught you or the team that you would do or not do going forward, and that you would tell our audience to think about?
Yeah, very good question, Frank. We try to be end user oriented in everything we do, right? So we have a saying in Circle K, make it easy. But I think it's really about who do we make it easy for? Because when we make it easy for our store teams and store managers, that's we need to make it easy for, not ourselves, right? Because we're here for them. So if making it easy for them means making it, a tough job for ourselves, that's okay. That's part of the game, right? So really being end user oriented and being out in the field and understanding where is the value creation. I think that's so important. Putting the shoes on, being there in a 4 to 7 p.m. rush hour, really understanding where is the needle. I think that's one area I would look into, and then guess the second element is just use the organization and its full capacity and capability, right? We're only a team, right? I mean, great project manager in my team. I'm loving working with them, but we don't have all the answers, right? So really, reaching out the arm, trying to learn, having two big ears and one small mouth, and then adjusting based on that. I think that's so important, because we're here to create value, and but if the other side doesn't see the value, then it's game over, right? So we really need to deliver value for them, and luckily it seems like we're on a good path at least.
No, I think that's brilliant for our audience. I mean, for me, it's about that service mentality to the front line, which you guys have in your culture, and then using your organization to get best practice and then spread that good practice across your whole company using the technology platforms that are available to us now, but more
Yeah.
importantly in the future, where a lot of this tech is going to really move faster and be more intuitive.
Yeah.
So I think this has been quite a powerful session, Carolyn. I hope you're happy. Certainly, our listeners should be very interested on this journey.
Well, there's certainly a lot to take away. And I know we have a couple articles up on globalconveniencestoreFocus.co.uk where you can read a little bit more both about this program and some of the prior programs that Circle K Europe has worked on, including the Kindness Day, which is a huge initiative, really worth looking at. maybe even employing in some stores, regardless of where you are in the world, that is. Well, Jens, it's been great talking to you. Thank you for taking time with us today and sharing about this program. It's really cool. Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot for having me. It was great meeting you both. Thanks a lot.
And Frank, always great to see you.
Take care. Thank you, everybody.
And thank you for listening to The Future of Convenience. You've been listening to the Future of Convenience podcast, produced by Dan Munford, Nick Scherzer, Jenna Ferguson, and Lorraine Evans. It is produced, edited, and mixed by Carolyn Schnare, and music is provided by Jukebox Music. Tune in every other Friday for new episodes, and please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Learn more at globalconveniencestorefocus.co.uk.